Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So to prepare ourselves for the upcoming Guru Purnima, we will have inspiration connected to the spiritual master today. I was just on the phone with one devotee in Vrindavan, in Govardhan today, and she told me that there is 500,000 of people coming for the Guru Purnima, and all the roads are closed. You don't get any rickshaw. It's like a huge, huge, huge pilgrimage, and especially for the Guru Purnima, which is connected very much to Sanatan Goswami, who was living at Govardhan and who was seen by most of the Brijbasi as their own guru. So the first part of today's inspiration will be pleasing the spiritual master with our chanting of the holy name. We often want to please the spiritual master by doing some personal services where he might see us doing the service or service that we can render directly to him, offer him a gift or something like this. But and the meditation obviously is to please the spiritual master, but what is actually most pleasing to the spiritual master? It is mentioned, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that one of the most important instruction of the spiritual master is the instruction that he gives to his disciple to chant 16 good rounds of the Japa mala. That means without offenses or trying to avoid the offenses that sometimes even in initiation certain devotee or the spiritual master will speak about the 10 offenses and will request the disciple to chant their 16 rounds in that way. So when we try to avoid offenses, we know it's not easy at all, but at least when we try to avoid them and we chant the holy name with some devotion, then we are 100% sure this is going to please the spiritual master. And there is a very beautiful purport in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilila 782. This is the part when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks with the Mayavad from Varanasi, and he tells them that now by chanting he has become mad. And Prabhupada writes in a purport, and here I will just read it short. He said, when a disciple very perfectly make progress in spiritual life, this gladdens the spiritual master, who then also smile in ecstasy, thinking, how successful my disciple has become. The spiritual master feels so glad that he smiles as he enjoys the progress of the disciple, just as a smiling parent enjoys the activities of a child who is trying to stand up or crawl perfectly. So this is very, very nice that we try to please the spiritual master in so many ways. But when the spiritual master sees that we make spiritual advancement, that very much gladdens the spiritual master. That's pleased the spiritual master very, very, very much. Maybe even more than receiving the mango or any gift. That's most probably the best gift the spiritual master received, to see his disciple is making progress. So that will be the first inspiration for today. We don't chant only for us, but we chant because we know that this will please the spiritual master, and especially when we try to avoid the offenses. So we'll try to chant very attentively, to hear nicely the holy name, and to remember our spiritual master. And remember, I'm doing that because I want to make progress, because I want you to be pleased seeing me making progress in my spiritual journey. Hare Krishna. We'll try to make a second step. We can see that even though we think of pleasing the spiritual master and that this chanting will please the spiritual master, the mind is still quite strong and quite wandering. Then that means we still need to make also quite some effort in our side to keep the mind connected to the holy name so that the proper effect take place and spiritual progress is moving our life, and the spiritual master will be happy to see our progress. So now we will connect a little bit deeper with the spiritual master by trying to take shelter. We notice that, okay, it's good to think of him and pleasing him, but we might need some extra help for having a good chanting, for having a chanting without offenses. And bhakti is actually what we need, what we want for our chanting. It is always higher than where we are. And it can only be given by the spiritual master to the disciple. Like Rupa Goswami explained, that to enter the kingdom of bhakti, someone needs to open the door of this kingdom of bhakti, and that's the spiritual master. When I speak spiritual master, for those of you who are not initiated, it's obvious that we can think of Srila Prabhupada or some Shiksha Guru who are leading you on the path. So we will try to take shelter at the feet of our spiritual master as we chant. And because we do, in order to take shelter, we have to understand that we need help, that we cannot do it on our own. And I think that's most easy while we chant Japa, that we understand we cannot do it on our own. And that should be actually the impetus for us to take shelter into higher strengths, into the spiritual master, so that he helps us to chant the holy name purely. So this awareness of I need help is actually the stepping stone for taking shelter at the feet of our spiritual master. So we will already start to enter into the realm of meditation, and we will try to visualize our spiritual master. You can first choose a place where you will see your spiritual master. You could visualize him in your own living room, that is your guest today. You can visualize him in the temple or in his ashram or the place where you usually see him, and then visualize the form of the spiritual master. And as you chant, you could even make a particular effort to see his feet, to look at his lotus feet, and then pray. Pray to him for the ability to chant purely. So we will try to keep the mind connected to those three things. We try to focus on the holy name. We try to stay with the holy name, to chant carefully. And when the mind wanders, or when we noticed yet wandered, then we visualize our spiritual master and we pray to him. Please help me to chant the holy name purely. Please help me to chant the holy name with devotion. And then you stay with the holy name, and you can try to keep the image of your spiritual master, the visualization that you do, keep it as you focus on the name, as you focus on the chanting, keep your spiritual master in the consciousness. Hare Krishna. So we go to the last stretch for today. By the way, if it's difficult for you to picture the spiritual master or to visualize the spiritual master, you can choose to visualize the picture that you have on your altar, that you worship from time to time or every day, because this is a picture you have seen very often. So it's very easy to have it printed in your consciousness. For the last part of today, we will try to enter in a more subtle way into the association of the spiritual master. We will see or feel ourselves next next to him. We can imagine that he's also chanting the holy name, and we got this amazing chance or grace to be sitting next to him, and we are chanting the holy name next to him. And that's actually very powerful, because on a subtle level, we can receive his consciousness, can receive his bhav, his attitude that he has toward Krishna. We did such an exercise into a Japa retreat in Golokadam recently, and we had actually few disciples of Kadamba Swami in the room. And as we were chanting, it was just amazing for me to how much I was feeling the presence of Kadamba Swami also there, because other devotees were meditating upon him. And then as I was chanting, suddenly I have Chandramauli Maharaj coming into my consciousness. And then I noticed, yes, we have also a disciple of Chandramauli Maharaj here in the room, and she's also meditating on a spiritual master. So it's actually those meditation are very, very powerful, and they invite actually the subtle presence of those very great souls, and they have a very powerful bhav, or I don't know how we would translate that really in English. It's a state of consciousness, a state of devotion, a state of eagerness or longing for serving the Lord nicely. So being sitting next to them and feeling their presence next to us, we can actually get access to their own consciousness, to their own mood that they have in their chanting of the holy name. And we try to connect from our heart to their heart and open our hearts so that we can receive their consciousness. I was remembering today, many years ago, I was not yet initiated. I was a young bhakta. I was in Zurich temple. It was a morning time. It was summertime. Light was coming into the temple room around 6 o'clock, 6:30. And by that time, many devotees had left. Most probably they had some service or they were tired or whatever. And I was still chanting in the temple room, and His Holiness Sachinandana Swami, who later became my spiritual master, was also there in the temple room chanting. And I mean, I was not next to him physically, he was in another corner of the temple room, but I was chanting. And then suddenly I thought of the Damodar Lila. And I could see Krishna running away from Mother Yashoda. And then I thought while chanting, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. While chanting, I should run after Krishna. I should run after the holy name and try to stay with the holy name. And I started to chant in that mood, and I felt very enlivened. And I felt, wow, I'm very advanced. Later on, I understood that must have been the presence of Maharaj, who was there into the temple room, and maybe had sent some prayer, or maybe it was just his consciousness that was pervading. And last example, it was given by actually Giriraj Swami, who was explaining that once they were on pilgrimage in Vrindavan with other sannyasis, god brothers, and they all went to the Yamuna to chant their Gayatri. And Giriraj Swami said, I was next to Bhakti Bhringa Goswami Maharaj, and we were chanting Gayatri, and I felt, wow, my consciousness is fully fixed. I chant Gayatri like fully into it. Amazing experience. And then from the last part, the last Gayatri mantra, suddenly his mind was again waving and was again disconnected. And he just opened his eyes and he noticed that Bhakti Bhringa Goswami had finished his Gayatri earlier and already had moved away from him. So those are examples of how we can be influenced by the association of advanced devotees. And we will just try to chant, feel we are close to them, not only physically, but the closeness of heart. Our heart is close to their heart, and we know that their mood, their bhava can be transported or transferred into our heart if they are merciful and if they bless us with that. So from our side, we can just open our full heart and hope for this experience to happen. We keep trying to chant carefully and stay with the holy name. We do our part of the effort, but we also connect to their feelings and hope their bhakti feeling, their feelings of devotion and love will be given into our heart. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining today. I was just remembering the story of one of my Shiksha guru. His name is Shankararanya from Switzerland. And he told me the first time he saw Prabhupada, he saw him in London in the hall that was packed with people. And he could not enter because there were just too many people during the lecture. So he was just at the doorstep to try to peek in and look. And at the end of the lecture, Prabhupada came out and he had to pass by the door where he was. So he was actually very close to Prabhupada. And when Prabhupada came, in his mind, he said, I would like to become your disciple. And Prabhupada just stopped and look at him and smile at him and continue moving. And I just thought those souls, I mean, Prabhupada, our spiritual master, those very advanced souls, they are very subtle. And when we actually think of them and call for their help, they're actually feeling it, and they can actually send us those good wishes. And how much happy they are also when they see we are eager for those devotional feelings, that we are begging for receiving that from them. They very, very happily will give that to them. So we can connect them even if we are distant. It's just for us to become actually eager to receive their blessings. I was remembering Narottam Das Thakur singing, "Oh Gurudev, Krishna is yours. Krishna, you have Krishna, please give it to me." So this is very nice way we can meditate on the spiritual master, and maybe also on Guru Purnima, you might have some particular meditation on the spiritual master. We usually celebrate on the Vyasa Puja day, the birthday, but Guru Purnima is one bonus, one other occasion to remember the spiritual master, to feel gratitude, to offer prayers, to offer prayers, worship, and we can do a lot in our consciousness, a lot just with our mind. So thank you for joining. We wish you all the best, and Krishna willing, we meet again next Monday. All the best. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.